So here's a puzzle for you. Why would a famously autocratic state like China suddenly decide to introduce local elections back in the 1980s? And maybe even weirder, why, after these elections seemed to be working for decades, did their power just quietly fade away? We're going to unpack this incredible story of power, pragmatism, and ultimately, control.
To get it, you've really got to put yourself in the shoes of China's central government back then. You're the leader in Beijing. You've got nearly 1 billion people living out in the countryside, scattered across something like 700,000 different villages. How on earth do you actually get them to do what you want? I mean, it is a management challenge of staggering proportions. It all boils down to this fundamental tension. On one hand, you absolutely need vertical control. You have to be able to push your big national policies down from the top. But on the other hand, you desperately need local accountability, because from way up in Beijing, you have no idea what's really going on in every single one of those villages. You're basically flying blind.
Now, there's a name for this. It's called the principal-agent problem. Just think of the central government as the principal. That's the CEO sitting in the headquarters in Beijing. And the local village officials, they're the agents, hundreds of thousands of branch managers. The CEO wants his policies carried out perfectly, but the branch managers, well, they might prefer to take it easy or worse, get into a little bit of corruption on the side. So the question is, how do you keep them in line? And get this wasn't some big state secret. The government was pretty open about the fact that it couldn't handle it. Just look at this incredible quote from a top official, Peng Zhen, back in '87. He's basically saying flat out, our bureaucracy isn't big enough for this job. There was no way they could supervise everyone. They had to find another way. And the solution they came up with, it was radical and, frankly, kind of brilliant. Instead of trying to build this massive, super expensive top-down monitoring system, they decided to just delegate the job of supervision to the people who knew best, the villagers themselves.
And the logic here, it's so simple and so smart. Step 1, we admit we can't watch everyone. Step 2, but you know who can? The villagers who live there. They see everything, they have the best local intel. So step 3, let's have them elect their own leader, the village chairman. And boom, step 4, all of a sudden, that local official isn't just answering to some faceless bureaucrat miles away. Nope, now they're accountable to their neighbors, the very people who can vote them right out of a job.
And you might be thinking, okay, but were these elections just for show? Absolutely not. The data shows there was a real, tangible shift in power on the ground. After elections came in, the newly elected village chairman started being the one to sign off on more and more local policies. And at the same time, the unelected party secretary, the guy who traditionally held all the power, was signing off on fewer. This tells you there was a genuine change in who was really calling the shots. But this is where the story gets really, really interesting, because making your local officials accountable to voters, well, for an autocrat, that's a classic double-edged sword. The effects were powerful, all right, but they cut both ways. Okay, so let's look at the good side of the sword for the central government. For policies that people actually wanted, this was a huge win. You can see right here that elected officials, wanting to get reelected, they boosted spending on things like roads and irrigation. And they cracked down hard on unpopular stuff like leasing out village land to big companies, which everyone knew was often super corrupt. Right, but then you flip the coin. What about the stuff Beijing wanted that the villagers hated? It's a completely different story. Those same elected officials, now answering to their neighbors, started handing out way more exemptions to the really unpopular one-child policy. They basically just enforced it less, and they became a lot less willing to cooperate when the state wanted to come in and seize village land for big projects. So there it is, right? That's the core trade-off in a nutshell. The government got much better results on popular policies, but it totally lost its grip on the unpopular ones. Elections were a fantastic way to harness local knowledge, but they came at the cost of that top-down vertical control. And for a long time, that was a price Beijing was willing to pay. But then, everything changed. The entire equation got flipped on its head, and what changed it? Money. Lots and lots of money. China's economic miracle happened, and the state got rich. Incredibly rich. And a state with money has a lot more options. I mean, just wrap your head around this number. A 20-fold increase in real government revenues, 20 times more money. The same state that was too poor and too weak to properly supervise its villages in the 1980s now had a fire hose of cash. It could finally afford to build that massive, top-down bureaucratic machine it couldn't build before.
And with all that newfound cash, the central government's calculation totally changed. They didn't need to make that trade-off anymore. So starting in the early 2000s, the state began this systematic campaign to reclaim control piece by piece, and basically chip away at the autonomy of those elected village leaders.
And they didn't do it all at once. It was this slow, methodical process. First, around 2003, a tax reform came in that took away the village's ability to raise their own money. Then, a few years later, county governments started demanding that they had to approve any village spending. And finally, they just started sending their own officials, these so-called cadres and residents, to actually live in the villages and supervise them directly. But here's a really clever part of the analysis. This takeover didn't happen everywhere in the same way. In villages that were close to the county government, where it's easy and cheap to send someone to supervise, the recentralization was really strong. But way out in the remote villages, well, it's expensive and difficult to supervise them directly. So those elected leaders actually managed to hold on to more of their power. It shows that even a super-rich state has its practical limits.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big picture here? What does this amazing rise and fall of village elections actually tell us? Well, it gives us a really powerful answer to a huge puzzle about how autocratic states change as they get richer and more modern.
It all comes down to this core idea, the organizational theory of elections. It suggests that in an autocracy, local elections aren't necessarily some kind of stepping stone to democracy. Instead, you should think of them as a pragmatic organizational tool. It's a tool you use when your state capacity is low and you need help with monitoring. But the moment your state gets stronger and richer, the moment you can afford to do the monitoring yourself, that tool becomes obsolete, and you switch right back to top-down command and control.
And that leaves us with a really big and frankly kind of sobering question to chew on. There's this common idea that as countries get richer, they naturally become more democratic. But the story of China's village elections, well, it points to a very different possibility. What if, for some regimes, economic growth doesn't buy more freedom? What if it just buys a more efficient, more powerful, and a more effective autocracy?